Hi my YouTube family, this is Melody from Home Garden and Fashion. I hope all of you are doing awesome today. I'm going to do a story today, and one of my subscribers has requested it for a new story, and I realized that I haven't done a story for a while. So today I'm going to do a story. This story, the title is The Awakening. Now, in this story, we have some characters. One of the female character is Nina, and the male character is Robert, and then there are a few supporting characters. So Nina was a 28-year-old beautiful woman who lived in a very rural village, and she had built herself a beautiful, small but peaceful, beautiful, enchanting dream house. Her house was not very big, it was only 500 square feet, and in this 500 square feet she had all the most beautiful things that she ever wanted. In this 500 square feet of living space, and there were plenty of space outside, but just her house, which consists of many small rooms. So one of them was her bedroom, and her bedroom had this very old style, real hard wood bed. This hard wood bed is called choki, and this made with only hardwood and has 4 legs, and it's very strong, and many people can sleep on it, and it has a lot of space at the bottom, so the height is about 2-3 feet high, so it's really high, and all the things people can store underneath. So in Nina's case, her bed, this choki, this wonderful, amazingly built, pure wooden bed, underneath that there were lots of open space to keep all her pumpkin and squash, and these hard shell vegetables could be stored for over 6 months or so, and villagers have done so they will grow them over the summer and some of the winter squashes as well, and then they will store them under the bed, and it stays good for a while. So as you know, from pumpkin you can make so many things. So back to Nina's beautiful house. So I'm going to give a little bit of description of the house. So the house had, as I told you, had a beautiful bedroom, very small but very beautiful. And then she did not have any dresser or anything, and she built something by pure wood that's called alna. This alna is sort of like a cloth hanging rack, and it's built with pure wood, and they are just, people can stack up their clothes and then cover it up on top with their bed sheet so it not get any dust. And back in the days, people did not use much plastic wasn't available that much, so they used fabric to cover up something, and also they use, beside fabric, they use metals, so they use either fabric or wood or metal. So she had this beautiful alna to keep her clothes, and then next they had a beautiful puja room slash prayer room where she did her prayer, her puja on regular basis. She was very religious. So she had a puja room which was beautifully decorated with God and Goddess's idol, which she herself made it with wood and metal and mud, clay. She made all those things, and she made amazingly beautiful little things like God's bed and little room for God. So she was very passionate about making these things, and she used to sell some of these things too. So her third room was her arts and crafts rooms, and there she used to do embroidery and mending and stitching and fixing, and she used to store all her clients' clothes. So regular basis people used to come to her and give her their clothes to mend it. So she did the mending in that embroidery or stitching room, and there was no machine those days, so all the stitching was done by hand, and she used to regular basis take clothes and then do her work, and people came back in the evening to pick them up, or next day as it was done they came and picked them up. So that was her home-based business. And then she had a beautiful storage room where she stored all her canned goods and all her stored fruits and vegetables, mostly canning them because those days there were no refrigerator. And she lived on 100% fruits, vegetables, and whatever she grew, fruits and vegetables, and the money she got from mending and stitching and fixing other people's clothes, she used that to buy some grains. And she had a beautiful garden, flower garden in front of the building, and alongside with the flower garden there were two rooms. One room was her music room. There she used to sing every Friday night, sometimes Saturday night, and all the villager women would come and listen to her song. These songs are mostly God's prayer, and sometimes they join and they let some money for her. And she had another room which she had created with the villagers. Now keep in mind that this village was a very small village and was by the river side. This small village was called Dharmapur. Dharmapur was the name because the leader of the village, um, his name was Ranu. Ranu believed on doing only good deeds, and no bad deeds was allowed on that village. So they were on the good side of the any religion. So any religion there is always a good and bad and God and devil. So they were on the God side. So they believed that all the good things only be done. So she did the prayers of God on every Friday and Saturday, and villagers came and joined and gave her some money for doing the prayer ceremony and getting people together. And then there was another room where she asked this 100 people, their village, these 100 families, she asked them to bring in their old unused clothes. So they would bring the clothes, and she had a system where she would separate all the clothes and keep in bags. And then those clothes people would just trade in, like if somebody brought small clothes and they needed a bigger clothes for someone, they could just trade in, or somebody didn't have it, they can just get those clothes. So basically they barter the clothes and they just helped out each other. And this was not limited with only clothes, this was even clothes, and they had other useful things, like they made some utensils, metal or clay, so they could barter those. So the villagers together created a beautiful system. And mostly this village was named Dharmapur, so they were for the dharma, for good religion, and most of them did not eat any meat, fish, egg. They all were vegetarian. So in the back of her little beautiful little house, in the back there was a beautiful garden, the most beautiful enchanted garden. And this garden, she grew almost practically all the fruits and vegetables, all she can eat, all she can give away. Now, keep in mind the villagers were very nice and kind, and they had this belief, even though they all grew lots of vegetables and fruits, but they always be sure there's those 100 people on the village, everybody was fed and nobody went hungry, nobody were barefoot, or nobody were without clothes, so they shared everything, whatever they could. So she had this beautiful magical garden which she took care of daily, and every morning she would just go and take care of her garden and pick up all the fruits and vegetables that she needed for the whole day. And she would keep all the extras on the barter room. She called that barter room, and that was in the front of the building, where people would come to give her for mending clothes. If they needed any fruits or vegetables, she would just give it to them and they would just pick them up. And in the back also she had bathroom for shower and other activities. And this was separate from the home. Bathrooms were not in the home because the villagers believed that bathrooms should not be inside the home, that brings diseases. So their bathrooms always at the end of the garden. So there's a path, beautiful path leading to the bathroom. And they ate around 6 o'clock. As soon as the sun went down, they all ate because there was no electricity, so they ate while there was a light. And then after they ate, they used the bathroom, and they never went to use the bathroom in the middle of the night or anything. For that, they kept some arrangement in their home just for the night time in case someone has to go. They did not bother to go at night time. And in the back, along with the bathroom, there was another room where she could just keep her plants and do the seeds and do the starter plants. During the winter season, many plants die, so she kept that room to start her plants. And she had seeds and other things, soil seeds, things like that. So this room was another room she could use, and her little world was really very magical and beautiful. The garden used to get filled with the moonlight during the full moon and the half moon, and there she could just sit and relax. And she also created a beautiful, in the back, a beautiful veranda where she could sit down and cook food. And there she had an outdoor wood burning stove too, which was totally made out of mud. and there she just used to burn wood and cook. So basically she was totally self-sufficient, so was the entire village, because for water they had their river and their ponds, and they also created the wells in their backyard, and they had this pumping uh, sort of like a pumping faucet, so they would just pump it and it went all the way to underground and there was being water, and they used to keep that water for drinking, and that water was believed to be very good water with all the minerals. So they drank that water, and whoever could create that water pump they created, whoever could not create it, could not do it, they shared other people's water, and it was very acceptable if they shared everything. So she basically had a very beautiful, peaceful life. She would wake up in the morning and do her chores and mend her garden, everything, and then she used to take a shower in the back house in the garden, and then do her prayers, and then she got her fruits and vegetables and ate it, and then she started mending clothes. She would mend clothes, and people will come by the evening time to pick up all their clothes, and they will stay late having herb tea. She had a lot of herbs in her garden, so she will have dry herb tea, and she sometimes used to sell them or barter them for rice and other grains. So people would take those, and all the 100 people in the village, they lived in a close, very good relationship with each other. Another thing, the leader Vanu in the village believed that the people, if they live in a close relationship, connected with each other, and they help each other, and they do the prayers and meditation, and they all grow food, and they have everybody's best interest in their heart, then nobody will ever go hungry or be sick or be miserable, and which really came true, which was working. So everybody was very happy in that village. Then one day there was someone from outside came to the village, and this person came from outside country, and his name was Robert. He came to the village, and he liked the village so much, and since Nina had many rooms, so she offered him to stay in one of the front room where she used to dry her herbs and sell her things. The barter room she put up a wooden bed in there, and she also had a wooden bed in the front singing room. She had few extra wooden beds which she made for in case somebody needs to stay overnight. So the guest came, and then Robert offered to pay her money for staying there and for fresh fruits and vegetable food. And then in the Dharmapurta garden, the people created a general garden where they grew lots of food, and it was sort of like community garden. Everybody had garden in the back of their home, and they also invested some time during Saturday, Sunday in a community garden where they grew a lot of food in case someone needs something or they have a visitor, so they can offer food from the community garden. And their pond had a lot of fishes, but they did not eat any animals, did not believe in killing animals or eating, because they knew that bring diseases. Because when when we kill animals and eat it, we actually eat the emotions of the animals, and that brings diseases in the body. So all the diseases manifest in the body through emotions. Emotions are the ruler for everything. So they always kept their emotions clean, and they did not eat anything by causing harm to anything. And fruits and vegetables were given by the tree. It just falls down whether people use it or not. So Robert stayed there, and he liked the life so much. He decided to stay there and create a documentary. So he did a documentary on the village, and he paid the villagers some money for doing the documentary. And as time went by and he published his documentary, people liked it so much. They liked Nina's life so much that they asked him to post more about Nina's life. So he offered Nina some money to record her life on daily basis, and she agreed to it because she didn't see any harm in it. So Robert started videotaping Nina daily, all her simple natural life, and the people really liked it. And Robert actually came from USA, so people really liked Nina's very simple life and the village and the villagers believe, and it was very interesting to them that how the villagers did not have any diseases and they weren't sad or anything just by following some rules. So it was very interesting to all the outsiders, and the channel grew so much that they had views and subscriptions and millions and millions. Now Nina did not understand all this, but Robert was very nice person, so he gave Nina 50% of all this money. So Nina always had a desire to make a few community houses where people would come pray, and where the children will come learn stitching, sewing, embroidery, and children will learn to read and write. So with Robert's money, it was easy for her to make all these things. So she was very happy. And over time, Robert fell in love with Nina and also became very excited to see the outside world. So she gave her house and everything for her villager friends to watch over it while she goes and sees how the outside world is. And then she promised them that she will come back and do more improvement of the village. And villagers gave their marriage. It was a very nice, beautiful marriage ceremony, and they would get married and everybody blessed them. And Robert came back, and after some time he sent tickets and visa and everything for Nina to come back and visit States. So as Nina came to the States, she initially it was very difficult for her because she didn't speak the language, and she was very lonely. So the morning till night the routine was so different. She would just wake up, and Robert has many businesses, so she would go with him few places because he didn't want her to be alone in home and be bored because she couldn't speak with anybody. So he took her to many places. Even there she was very bored and she did not like the culture, and everything was different for her. So after some time she tried to adjust, but was not happening because her heart and soul was not into it. It was totally different. And also Robert used to eat non-veg item and used to drink as well, which Nina did not like them, but he did not do those things when he went to Nina's village because those things weren't available, but he did it when he came back to US. So gradually within 1 year Nina became very sick, and her sickness grew and grew. Initially it was just pain in her head and neck and shoulder and back, and then slowly it happened with the entire body, and then slowly it happened that she couldn't eat anything, she couldn't digest anything. And Robert took her to many doctors, many psychiatrists, and medicine just piled up and up and up, and it didn't help, nothing helped. So Nina knew that something is wrong with the environment. Now she came from a place where there was no modern technology. Nothing was available, not even electricity. They did not use electricity, they did not use any modern technology, and she came to a world where everything was modern technology. The cell phone, the TV, the fridge, all the other things, and the outside, all the electricity and lights. And the people's eating habits so different, people sleeping so late and going to club parties, friends outings, and staying up late and eating wrong food and drinking. All these things had serious health consequences. And Nina saw it that all Robert's friends' wife, they were all suffering, they were all in the same boat. They all had several diseases and several medications they were on, and they were all seemed very unhappy. So she, even though she made a lot of money and a lot of fame, and when she came to the States they had a beautiful wedding again, and it was just so huge and magical and beautiful, and she did enjoy it for a while. But then as everything fell apart, so she told Robert that she wished to go back home and see if her health returns to normal. And Robert did not wanted to come to village anymore because he had his business and everything. So he told Nina, okay, you can go visit for a few months and come back, see how you feel. So she came back to her village. When she came back, she saw the villagers were so nice and kind enough to keep all her things, her house, her garden, the outhouse and the herb drying place, everything. They kept it so nice, the barter place. They kept up the place, cleaned up, and she was very happy to be back to her old lifestyle. As she was living her old lifestyle, waking up in the morning, going to the garden, and this time she even loved her plants more than she ever did because she missed them so much. So she just loved them and sing to them. And then she would pick the fruits and vegetables, and she enjoyed them so much because they were so fresh and they're so organic, and she started appreciating everything, and now she can see the difference in the sky, difference in the rain, the difference in the trees, everything, the difference in the birds, and everything in the village made her so happy. So she started thinking that the reason for all the happiness in the village were the people. The people were so nice, and the people helped each other so much, and they lived a just simple vegetarian life, and they prayed, and they ate on time, and they went to bed on time, and they ate healthy food, and the relationship with each other was so sweet that everybody actually enjoyed living. So this was the Nina's awakening moment, where she had awakened from a deep sleep, where she realized that what gave her all the sickness, and after returning to her original environment, she has regained her health back in 3 months. Now it was time for her to go, and she needed to make a decision. So she had to write a letter to Robert, and that letter she wrote that I really love you so much, but I could not return to the States, could not return to US, because I love my village and I love this natural life, and it keeps me healthy and happy, and I wish to stay here and just live the way life I lived before, mending clothes, singing, taking care of the plants, singing to the plants, teaching kids their stories, book, poetry, math, science, and teaching kids sewing, stitching, dancing, singing, embroidery. And now that she had some money, she opened up a schoolhouse for kids, and she opened up a community center for all the village people, so they all can gather Saturday, Sunday, and have played games together, laugh and sing, and live a happy, joyful life. And Robert, in the States, Robert also had many sicknesses. He was getting depressed, lonely. Beside that, he had many other health problems, which he was taking many medications. So he decided to visit Nina's village twice a year and just stay there each time about a month. And that way they kept a beautiful long distance relationship, and they were both happy. And Nina also came sometimes to US just to visit for a month, but not to stay there, because she knew that she would fall ill again, and she did not like the life without any discipline. She knew that life without discipline will cause chaos. So they lived happily ever after, but they knew the truth, and by the truth they could fix their health and be happy again. But Nina was very, very happy after her awakening moment. She was very, very happy and blessed to have such amazing friends, family, the village, where villagers were truly friends to each other. She was very blessed, especially after visiting outside. She saw how nobody knew nobody outside, nobody would talk to them, and it was all day very lonely. People are always busy and just working. So it was very lonely 3 months for her on the side. So the moral of the story is that all the diseases come from our mind. was due to loneliness and unhappiness. As we see animals in the forest, they stay in their own group. Birds, same feather, flock together. They stay in their own group, they eat together, they sleep together, they speak to each other in their own language, they hunt together, and this makes them happy. Same way human, they need to sit together, eat together, laugh together, take care of each other, and just be there for each other, and that is humanity. And that's what keeps us happy and alive. And also we have to practice eating healthy vegetarian meals, and just, even though it was a life about 100 years ago, or a very old style life, but it gave good results, and Nina chose that one over a modern life. So thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video, and I'll see you with many more.